The Duchy of Münsterberg, a Duchy of Ziębice, was one of the Duchies of Silesia, with a capital in Münsterberg. Existing from 1321–1322 to 1742, it was located in what came to be referred to as Lower Silesia. Its territory is similar to modern Ząbkowice Śląskie County in Poland. Pist rule. After the death of Henry IV in 1290, during the period of fragmentation of Poland, Bolko the Strict inherited the towns of Münsterberg and Frankenstein. Around 1300, he finished a castle in Münsterberg. When he died in 1301, his possessions were divided among his three sons. The youngest son, Bolko II Ziębicki, received Münsterberg in 1321 and was the first to style himself Duke of Münsterberg. He resided in the town's castle. After he demanded land from the diocese's domains, a long-running dispute with the Bishop of Breslau arose, and the bishop imposed an interdict over the duchy several times while the duke was anathematized. After the siege of Frankenstein by the Moravian Margrave and later by Holy Roman Emperor Charles IV, Bolko II recognized Bohemian suzerainty on the 29th of August 1336 in the Treaty of Straubing. Bolko II died in 1341. He was buried in the church of the Heinrichau monastery, a monastery he generously supported during his lifetime. Bolko's son, Nicholas the Small, was Duke of Münsterberg until 1358. In the year of his father's death, he paid homage to Bohemian King John of Luxembourg and his son Charles. Nicholas' successor, Bolko III, died in 1410. The next dukes, the brothers Henry and Jan, ruled the duchy together until 1420. Afterward Jan ruled alone. Jan died on the 27th of December 1428 at the Battle of Alt-Wilmsdorf against the Hussites. With him the Pist Dukes of Münsterberg died out. Bohemian rule. With the death of Duke Jan, the duchy passed to Bohemian King Sigismund, who pledged it to Peter III of Castellavice, Lord of Castellavice, in 1429. After Peter II's death in 1434, his widow, Anna of Coldasp, kept the bond and ruling claims. However, the estates of Münsterberg favored Countess Euphemia of Ohain, a niece of the last duke. She gained Münsterberg in 1435, but abandoned it a year later because of continuing disputes. Although Anna of Coldasp sold her possessions in 1440 to Henekrazina of Lichtenberg, whom she married shortly thereafter, new succession disputes with the estates erupted, in which several Silesian princes supported the estates of Münsterberg. In 1442, Henekrazina looted the Heinrichau monastery, since it was particularly associated with the estates. After lengthy negotiations, the estates of Münsterberg on the 25th of April 1443 chose Duke Wilhelm of Opava as the new ruler. His claims were justified by two reasons. First, he was the son of Przemysl of Opava of the Przemysl dynasty and Catherine, the sister of Jan of Ziębice, the last Duke of Münsterberg of the Pist dynasty. Second, he was married to Salome, a daughter of the late Peter III. Wilhelm joined forces with the Bishop of Wrocław and the Silesian princes, who fought against Henekrazina. Although Henekrazina had not legally abandoned his claims, the dispute was settled in 1444. After Wilhelm's death in 1452, the duchy passed to his brother Arnost, who sold it in 1456 to Bohemian King George of Podebrady. The king handed his possessions down to his sons Victor, Henry the Elder and Henry the Younger in 1472. Henry the Elder, who was married to Ursula of Brandenburg, a daughter of Elector Albrecht III of Brandenburg, received the Duchy of Münsterberg. He also got Frankenstein, the county of Kladsko, the dominion of Nashod, and the former East Bohemian possessions of Puta III. In 1488, he built a castle in Münsterberg and in 1495 obtained the Duchy of Oels. He resided in Kladsko, where he died in 1498. He was succeeded by his sons Albert, George and Charles, who ruled together. The latter moved his residence to Frankenstein in 1530, where he died 6 years later and was buried in the parish church. His sons, William, Henry, John and George, supporters of the Reformation, ruled jointly until 1542. In the same year, they pledged the indebted duchy to their uncle, Duke Frederick II of Legnica. In 1551, Bohemian King Ferdinand I redeemed the duchy from Duke Frederick III of Legnica. Between 1552 and 1559 it belonged to Queen Isabella of Hungary as a pledged lordship. In 1559, the duchy passed into the hands of Duke John of Oels, a son of Charles I of Münsterberg, and thus returned to the House of Poder-Brady. After John's successor, Charles Christopher, died childless in 1569, Münsterberg reverted to the crown of Bohemia. Because of his contributions to the House of Habsburg, King Ferdinand III in 1654 gave the duchy to a prince of the Holy Roman Empire, Count Johann Wakard of Augsburg. Prussian rule. After the First Silesian War and the incorporation of Silesia into Prussia in 1742, the Augsburgs retained the possessions. The duchy, however, was converted into a state country. In 1791, Prince Charles Joseph Anton of Augsburg sold the duchy to Prussian King Frederick William II. Dukes of Münsterberg, 1301–1341 Bolko II, 1341–1351 Nicholas the Small, son of Bolko II, 1351–1410 Bolko III, son of Nicholas the Small, 1410–1420 Henry II, son of Bolko III, 1410–1428 John I, 1428, son of Bolko III. The duchy passes to Bohemian King Sigismund, 1429–1434 Puta III of Castellavice, 1435–1436 Euphemia, sister of John I, renounced her right. 1437–1440 Anna of Coldus, widow of Puta III of Castellavice, 1440–1443 Hinekra Zena of Lichtenberg, acquired the bonds from Anna, whom he married 3 weeks later. 1443–1452 Willem of Opava, son of Premius of Opava of the Premuslid dynasty, and Catherine, sister of John I, the last Pist Duke of Münsterberg. 1452–1456 Anost of Opava, brother of Willem, sold Münsterberg in 1456 to Bohemian King George of Poder-Brady. 1456–1462 George of Poder-Brady, 1462–1498 Henry I the Older of Poder-Brady, son of George of Poder-Brady, Prince of the Empire, Count of Kladsko, since 1495 also Duke of Oels, together with 1462–1471 Victorin of Münsterberg, 1462–1471 Henry the Younger of Poder-Brady, 1498–1536 Charles I of Poder-Brady, son of Henry the Older, Duke of Oels, Count of Kladsko, together with 1498–1502 George I of Poder-Brady, son of Henry the Older, Duke of Oels, Count of Kladsko. 1498–1511 Albert I of Poder-Brady, son of Henry the Older, Duke of Oels, Els, Count of Kladsko, 1536 to 1542. Wickham, Henry II, John and George II of Poder Brady, sons of Charles I, pledged Münsterberg to their uncle. 1542 to 1547. Frederick II, Duke of Liegnitz, 1547 to 1552. Ferdinand I, 1552 to 1559. Isabella of Hungary, 1559 to 1565. John, Duke of Münsterberg Oels, son of Charles I, 1565. Charles Christopher of Münsterberg, 1565 to 1654. Reversion to King of Bohemia, 1654 to 1677. Johann Wakard of Augsburg, 1677 to 1705. Johann Ferdinand of Augsburg, son of Johann Wakard, 1705 to 1713. Franz Karl of Augsburg, brother of Ferdinand Franz, 1713 to 1783. Henry Joseph John of Augsburg, son of Franz Karl, 1783 to 1791. Karl Joseph of Augsburg, 1791, sold to the Prussian Hohenzollerns. 1795, sold to Ludwig William of Schliebrendorf.